which we know to be in modern-day Turkey, then why is it that we've never found it? Well, who says we haven't? First of all, I want to show you some interesting little tidbits going way back to the time of before Christ. We'll put these up on the screen so we can read them together. But in 275 BC, Berosus, a Babylonian historian, wrote, "But of this ship that grounded in Armenia," which is that ancient area which we now call Turkey, "some part," he says, "still remains in the mountains, and some get pitch from the ship by scraping it off." Do you remember that God told Noah to cover both the interior and exterior of the boat with pitch? So obviously so that it would not leak and so it would be buoyant and so forth. This is a writing from a Babylonian historian. Then around 75 AD, Josephus said the locals collected relics from the ark and showed them off, as he says, to this very day. He also said all the ancient historians he knew of wrote about the ark. In 180 AD, Theophilus of Antioch wrote, quote, "The remains of the ark are to this day to be seen in the mountains." Next, an elderly Armenian man in America said that as a boy he visited the ark with his father and 3 atheistic scientists in 1856. Their goal was to disprove the ark's existence, but they found it and became so enraged they tried to destroy it, but could not because it was too big and had petrified. In 1918, one of the atheistic scientists, an Englishman, admitted on his deathbed the whole story was true. In 1876, a distinguished British statesman and author, Viscount James Bryce, climbed Ararat and reported finding a foot-long piece of hand-tooled timber in an altitude of more than 13,000 feet. Next, 6 Turkish soldiers claimed to see the ark in 1916. In the early part of this century, a Russian aviator named Vladimir Rakovsky claimed the discovery of Noah's Ark. He was stationed in southern Russia near the Turkish border and Mount Ararat. As he tested a plane, he and his co-pilot flew over Ararat and discovered on the edge of a glacier what he described as a boat the size of a battleship. He said it was partially submerged in a lake, and he could see it was an opening for a door nearly 20 feet or 7 meters square, but the door was missing. Rakovsky told his commanding officer, and an expedition was dispatched to find the ark and photograph it. The report was forwarded to the Tsar, who was soon overthrown, and the photos and the report perished. Next, in 1936, a young British archaeologist named Hardwick Knight hiked across Ararat and discovered interlocking hand-tooled timbers at a height of 14,000 feet. And then finally, during World War II, 2 pilots saw and photographed something they believed was the ark on Mount Ararat. So you can see that over the centuries there have been a lot of sightings, but it continues to be an area that is a political hotbed and a difficult place for people to get in and do any kind of searching. Plus, obviously, 14,000 feet is way up there, in case you've ever been at that altitude. So there have been sightings, and there are notations in historical writings, as we've seen here, from Josephus and a Babylonian historian, even from before the time of Christ, making reference to the ark at that time. So it is interesting.